Hello! Hey friend! Welcome to your practice. It's gonna get deep into the hips, but gentle, super accessible for beginners or if your hips are super tight. Also really beneficial if you are a seasoned practitioner. So this is kind of that sequence that anyone can do. So we're gonna get started. I'm gonna meet you in child's pose, wide-legged child's pose. Okay, landing in child's pose. So knees are mat width apart, nice and wide. Make sure you have your blocks handy, 2 blocks or 2 pillows to support. You can always bring a block underneath the forehead to support, or even a pillow underneath the upper body. If the hips are feeling a little tight here, you do want to make this as gentle as possible so we're not straining in this pose. And then bringing the forehead down to connect with the mat or a block. And we'll just take a couple big breaths here. Just noticing any areas of extreme tightness or tension. Noticing how the hips feel right now in this shape. Very slowly, we'll walk the hands and the head over to the right side. So you want to actively pull back your left hip and you're reaching that left hand. So you feel that opening through your left side body. And we'll take 3 breaths here. For 2. Last one. And slowly walk the hands, the head back to center. Find that neutral spine for a moment. Just feel it. And then walk your arms and your head over to the left side now. So actively pulling back that right hip. So you really feel that stretch in your right side. You can reach that right hand a little further. Activate it here. And then we breathe into that right side. Right, walking the arms and the head back to center, find that neutral spine. Big breath here. Big breath out. And we shift forward nice and slow into table pose. So the shoulders stack over wrists, hips over knees. I always like to tuck my toes to create an extra opening through the feet. Lord knows I need it. Those feet are tight. So if that feels good for you, go for it. We'll take an inhale, drop the belly, look forward, nice and slow. Big exhale, push the air out, bring the chin to the chest, tuck the tailbone, look between the legs, pausing here, really push into the hands. Inhale, drop the belly. Big exhale. One more time, big inhale. And big exhale. Come back into table pose. Now the toes are tucked. We slowly lift into downward dog. You're going to pedal your feet here, lifting hips nice and high, creating a nice long spine. Push away from the mat with the hands. So you always want to find a little softening through the knees, especially if this is your first downward dog. And as you soften your knees, you can really focus on pushing your hips up towards the ceiling, getting that nice long spine. Maybe find a little wiggle of your hips here. Now from here, I want you to slowly walk the hands back to your feet. This is where the blocks can definitely come in handy. Maybe bring the hands onto the blocks or your pillow. You could even use a can of soup or a wine bottle, like anything to support here is encouraged for sure. Take the feet mat width apart, a little bend in the knees for sure, maybe a lot of a bend. And then try to bring the weight forward into the toes. We're going to bring the left hand right underneath the face, so again on the block, maybe if that's what's feeling good for you today. And from here, we're gonna slowly start to bring the right arm, reaching it up. You wanna keep your hips level here. So notice how you start to sort of shift into that right hip. So we're twisting open here. Take a big breath in, big breath out. And maybe this right hand today, maybe it feels better to bring it just on your hip or the lower back. You choose. We'll do one more big breath here. And big breath out. Nice. Slowly bring that right hand down. So we're bringing it right where that left hand is, underneath the face, softening through the knees. We push into the right hand. You start to twist, open, and again, just noticing how you want to shift here. Try to keep the hips level as if you had something on your lower back. So maybe like a glass or bowl of something that you don't want to spill. Quarantine treats. Nice big breath here. Big breath out. Let's do that one more time. Big inhale. And big exhale. Slowly bringing left hand down. Heel toe your feet back to hip width. We soften into this forward fold. Maybe the hands reach up behind the lower back. You can interlace fingers. Maybe start to allow the arms to come forward. Only if it feels right though. We'll take a big breath in. Big breath out. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Slowly releasing the arms. Hands walk forward into downward dog. So pedal the feet out. Okay, inhale your left leg straight back. So this may be a couple feet off the ground. Maybe you want to lift it a lot. We'll take a breath in. Breath out. We step this left foot all the way through to the outside of the left hand. Now you can always use your hand to scooch that foot forward. And we're going to drop the back knee. And I want you to walk your hands a little further away here. And you're dropping the hips down towards the floor. You do have the option, if you'd like to keep this active, you can keep that back leg off the ground. But because this is a more gentle sequence, I'm just going to go for all of those modifications that are nice and supportive. Maybe the chest lifts here. Maybe you look up. Notice how that changes this. We'll take one more big breath here. And out. Okay, we're going to heel toe the left foot right underneath the chest. Sending the weight back. Flexing your left foot. So those blocks, your prop, will definitely come in handy here. So I always like to bring the hands onto the blocks. So you can create a little space here. You take an inhale. And then as you exhale, you hinge forward, almost tricking the body into thinking it's a little more relaxed than it actually is. Always use that breath. Let's do one more here. All right, we're going to send the weight forward into that left foot. Hands can stay on the ground, or you can bring your hands onto your left thigh. So with that back foot, the toes can be untucked. I prefer having my toes tucked. I feel like I have a little more control here. My knees are a little wobbly, so that feels good for me. If it feels good for you, definitely an option. I want you to open up hip flexors here on right side. So you push into that thigh. Big breath here. And big breath out. Let's do that one more time. Inhale. And exhale. Slowly bring the hands down to frame the front foot. Now, back toes are tucked. Lifting your back leg, we will move into horizon lunge. So you want to listen carefully here. Your back leg, the knee is locked. We're going to turn the front foot out. Hands are going to come to the inside of that foot. And slowly you're going to drop into that right edge of the foot. So very slowly, you might have to maneuver the hands, may need a block here. And what we're going to do is slowly drop into that right hip if that's accessible. You may want to keep the leg up off the ground. You could even bring a block underneath the hip if dropping to the floor is too much. So take your time getting into that. Left hand can lift onto the hip. Maybe you look towards that right leg, pushing into the right hand. We'll take 5 big breaths here. This is a very deep one. Definitely want to spend some time here. For 4. For 3. Last 2. And last 1. Bring your left hand down. We slowly flex that right foot. So you really want to push into that foot. Slowly come out of that. Hands frame the left foot. We're going to reach the left arm up. Option here to drop the back knee. Intention through fingertips with the left hand. Pushing away from the floor. And maybe in this last moment, maybe you want to challenge yourself and lift that back knee up off the ground to see how it feels. We'll take 1 more breath here. Left hand comes all the way down. Drop the back knee. Sliding that left foot all the way back. So we are in table pose now. Extend your left leg to the side. So the left foot and knee are in the same line. You have the choice of staying here. Maybe you start to come forward onto forearms. Maybe you start to push back into the heel. So finding somewhere, a shape that feels right in your body. And we're going to take 5 breaths here. And maybe you find a little movement. Maybe you try all the shapes today. Two more. All right, slowly coming back into table pose. A little wiggle of your hips. Notice how that feels. And from here, table pose, very gentle way of getting into pigeon. Sliding your left knee, aiming for your left wrist. I'm going to cut that foot across. The back toes are tucked and you can lengthen the right leg all the way back. And then once you land here, try to take this left knee a little wider if possible. A block underneath your left hip. I always encourage that. You really want to support yourself in this pose. If pigeon is too much, you have 90-90 as an option. So I'm going to stick with 90-90 today. From here, you can stay sitting up tall, or maybe you start to come forward, maybe onto a block. You can support your head here. And we'll take 5 nice deep breaths. For 4. For 3. Last 2, maybe you find a little more space here. And last 1. All right, slowly coming back up onto the hands. If you have something underneath your left hip, I want you to move it out of the way. You're going to drop into your left hip, taking your right leg so you can encourage it with the hand. We're going to slowly bring this right leg all the way around, and just for the sake of you being able to see what I'm doing, I'm going to face you for this. So we sweep this leg all the way around. You have the option here to just crisscross the legs. This is a great option. You can also sit on a block here if you'd like, if that feels more comfortable. Your second option is for a double pigeon. So if the hips are feeling okay, you can bring your right heel onto your left knee. And this is where blocks come in handy. That block can go underneath the left leg. You can also support the blocks or the legs with the blocks, just like so. So finding something that's working, or pillows as well. And we're going to sit up nice and tall here, finding that neutral spine. Right away, just noticing here how this shape feels on the hips. And we'll bring the right hand down beside you, so just onto the mat, little bend in the elbow. Keep driving down through that opposite left hip. Left arm reaches nice and high. So you can peek underneath your left arm. If you always look up, maybe today you look forward, or maybe you look down to balance out the neck. And take a big breath here. Let's do 2 more. Last big breath. And then slowly rounding with that left shoulder. So now we're gonna be facing the mat. I want you to bring your left hand down. Be very gentle here in this one. This can be really intense. Maybe the arms come a little closer to the floor. Today for me, this is as far as I'm going. I'm feeling pretty tight. So I'm gonna just send the breath into that left side. And as you spend a little time here, maybe work towards dropping the head, bringing the chin to the chest. Make sure you are breathing. Last one. And then we slowly walk the hands over to center. And then again, maybe you stay here. Maybe you're able to reach a little further. Maybe bring a block underneath the head to support. We'll take 3 breaths. For 2. Last one. Right, slowly walking the hands over to that left side. So same thing on this side. We bring that right hand down. Ooh, this is an intense one today. Slowly work towards dropping the elbows. With each exhale, you soften a little more into the shape. Maybe the head starts to drop. All right, very slowly we round with this right arm. So you want to feel that big opening, kind of rolling that shoulder back push into the left hand. Maybe looking up again, actively pulling right hip down so you feel this big stretch. Breathe into that space. One more. And then we slowly come all the way up. Oh, finding neutral spine. Take a moment, maybe closing the eyes. Feeling pretty good so far. Move your blocks. I'm gonna put them up here. Pillows. Unravel the legs, uncross the legs. Hands come behind. Take your feet about shoulder width apart. We're just going to drop the legs one side. And we drop to the other side. Oh yes, that's that sweet spot right there. And then let's drop them again to the one side. Just to really balance out the hips, getting that internal rotation. And the other side. Oh boy. When you're ready, we're going to slowly spin the legs around. We're going to come into table pose. Once again, a little wiggle of the hips. So just noticing the difference you feel in your right side versus the left. Always good to just pay attention to that. Try to stay away from good, bad, better, worse, and just like focus on the sensations, physical sensations that you notice. Toes are tucked. Let's lift the hips into downward dog. Pedal your feet. And another option as well, if downward dog is not working, just stick with table. You can move through the flow from table pose, all good. Inhale the right leg straight back. So again, you choose how high you want to lift that leg. Stepping right foot, bring it all the way through to the outside of the right hand. Then we drop the back knee, dropping the hips. Can you start to maybe look forward or even look up? And those blocks are there to support you. Maybe a block underneath the hands. We'll take 2 more. Last one. All right, heel toe that right foot right underneath your chest. And then send the weight back. Grab one of your blocks or 2 of your blocks. Flexing this front right foot. So you want to pull the toes towards you. A little micro bend in your knees so you're not hyperextending or locking it. Inhale, create space. Exhale, lower. Inhale. Exhale. One more time, inhale. Follow the breath all the way through, exhale. Nice. Come all the way forward. Option to keep the hands on the mat, or hands can come onto that right thigh. So it's not about just sort of dropping into this. You want to keep your legs active here as you lift the chest a little. Any variation with the arms is welcome, whatever feels good. Let's take one more big breath here. Okay, slowly hands come down, framing the front foot. Now we're lifting the back leg up off the ground. And you want to lock this back knee just for a moment. Turning this front foot out slightly, we bring both hands to the inside of the foot. And you're slowly going to drop into the left edge of that back foot. So front foot is turned out. Make sure your back foot is active here. You can have that block ready for your leg as you slowly drop into this. Ooh, boy. Horizon lunge. So you're pushing into your left hand. Maybe you start to look towards your right foot, left foot actually, left foot. Nice big breath in. Big breath out. Let's do 4 more here. For 3. For 2. Last one. Okay, so to come out of this very slowly, we slowly start to turn that front foot in as we bring the right hand down, locking that knee again, the back knee, come onto the back toes, and we lift up, just moving that block out of the way. From here, right arm reaches up, twisting towards the leg. Let's drop the back knee if you're feeling a little tired, you need a little support here. All good. We'll take a couple breaths just like this. And then if you are feeling up for a challenge, let's lift that back knee off the ground. We'll take one big breath. Slowly bring the right hand down, slowly drop that back knee, sliding back into table pose. And then extend the right leg to the side. So again, the foot lines up with the knee. Option to stay here, or you can come onto forearms, onto a block. And again, you can find some of that movement here if that feels good. We will take 5 big breaths wherever you land. Two more. Slowly come back up onto the hands. Slowly bring that right knee underneath table pose. Little wiggle wiggle of the hips. And then we move into pigeon pose or 90-90. So sliding right knee to the right wrist, nice and gentle, pulling that foot across, back toes tuck. And we lengthen that left leg all the way back. So again, if you've landed in pigeon and you're like, nope, this isn't working, come into 90-90. And then again, those blocks you can invite into this practice. If you notice that your front leg, the knee is like super high because the hips are tight, bringing a block underneath is going to help you relax into it so you're not just like fighting with the body the whole time. And then we'll take 5 nice big breaths, whatever your final expression looks like today. Okay, slowly coming back up onto the hands. Bring the weight into the right side. So we drop into that right hip, bringing your left leg all the way around and through. And again, just for the sake of me showing you what I'm doing, I'll face you again. So option to cross your legs just like this. Make sure you cross the opposite way though than you did the time before. If you're going for that double pigeon, the left heel will now be on the right knee, and using the blocks always to support. So first we find a nice neutral spine here, sitting up nice and tall. And just noticing how the hips are feeling, right versus left. Notice any sensations. And then take your left hand, we're bringing it down beside, softening through the elbow, and that right arm reaches up nice and high. Actively pulling right hip down. And you can use a little movement here using the breath. So as you may have noticed, I never really stay still in a pose. I always like to use the breath. Just even tiny little movements that help. So you're not forcing anything here. Rounding right arm all the way through and down. So we bring that right hand down. Hopefully this one gets a little bit easier on this side. We've been here before. Familiar place. Hello hips. Drop the head if possible. We'll take 3 big breaths. Slowly walking hands over to center. Slowly, maybe reaching forward. You may notice the hips start to relax. You don't need the props. Maybe you notice that you need more props. That's okay too. Just being present in the body, noticing how you respond to this practice. Slowly walking hands over to right side. Left hand comes down. Very intense one. Maybe the elbows come down, maybe not. Maybe drop the head. 3 breaths. For 2. Last one. And then slowly reaching left arm over, push into that right hand. Last one. Slowly come back to center. Neutral spine. And you can slowly uncross your legs. Hands come behind, feet nice and wide, dropping legs over to the left side. And then I want you to reach that right arm up. You can extend that right leg if that feels good. Maybe opening the chest. And then slowly, hands come behind. Both knees are bent, we drop into the right side. So right hand stays where it is. Left arm sweeps up and around. Maybe you straighten out that left leg. Maybe you open up the chest. And then slowly bring that leg back. So we're at the top of the mat, both blocks or pillows beside you. Nice and slowly lowering down all the way. And we're gonna take these props. I'm gonna bring the feet, the soles of the feet together. Props are there. We're opening up the legs for supported butterfly. Now it's super important using something to support here. If your legs are just lifting and you're like hovering and just working so hard to hold them up, you're never going to be able to relax into this shape. When you invite the blocks in, it just gives your nervous system that like sense of calm, like, okay, we're supported here, we can relax, sending messages to the legs, hey guys, it's cool, we are okay, we can relax. And that's the goal, right? You just want to soften into this. Get all your little wiggles out, maybe a moving of the head side to side. Softening the back into the mat, the shoulders. Just bringing the focus to the breath. And try to soften every space of the physical body. So paying attention to those small areas, like the crease between the eyebrows. You're able to soften all the little muscles in the face. And soften your jaw. Softening through your wrists, your ankles, your fingertips. Settling into that state of surrender. Becoming fully present in this moment. We'll take one more big breath here. And using your hands, you can slowly close the legs up like a book, bringing the knees to touch, and let's just heel toe the feet a little wider. Keeping the knees to touch, finding balance in the hips. Focusing on the breath. And when you are ready, slowly straightening your legs out into the final pose. Shavasana, corpse pose. Watching the breath pass in and out through the nostrils. And you are so welcome to stay here as long as you need or want today. I hope to see you again in your practice. Until next time, namaste.